All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe, joined by Josh Jones, Omaha Central great.
Thank you, bro.
Check out the cup right there.
I love the cup.
Yeah, and it's a great cup. And also Creighton University. Of course, we are live inside the Capital District, Let It Fly Sports Bar downtown with lots to do and lots to see. This is an interesting week of sports.
Talk to me. Tell me why.
Okay, so for people like me, let's just call them nerds. Combines this week, starting on Thursday.
Yeah.
So the NFL Combine, I'm a big Combine watcher. I always have been ever since they started putting it on TV. Even when I was working as an intern in New Orleans, I got them to send me to the Combine in Indianapolis just to be able to file stories. All I did was record stuff and send it back. That's all I did.
So you seen Chris Johnson run the 4.2?
I didn't see him, on TV. I didn't see him in person.
Well, that's what I mean.
The year I went to the Combine would have been 1994.
Oh, word.
Was the year I went to the
Combine. So you really like the Combine?
I'm a Combine guy, man. I've been a draft guy since
For sure.
Really since like 1984.
Respect.
That was my first year to be a draft guy.
Okay.
But that's this week, right? Then you got baseball just kind of getting heated up with spring training. Mm-hmm. Basketball right now, it's kind of going down the stretch.
Yes.
Right? And college basketball, 3 or 4 games is all you have left.
Yeah.
So we're really, I think we're about, are we 2 weeks from Selection Day?
We from 2 weeks from Selection Sunday.
I mean, so.
Missouri Valley goes first.
Arch Madness.
Yeah.
Some Arch Madness. Presenting sponsor, of course, is Bud Light. No matter what you're doing around town or if you're here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, whether it's basketball, football, watching the Combine, whatever you want to do.
Right.
You do it with Bud Light. We appreciate them being our presenting sponsor as usual. And a reminder, as always, we tape this on a Tuesday.
Yep.
But tomorrow is Wednesday. We drop on a Wednesday. We drop on Dollar Wing Wednesday.
Man, I got some wings coming up for me now.
Do you
bro.
really? Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Let me guess. Lemon pepper.
Amen.
It's so funny.
I liked him before Rick Ross, though.
No, it's so funny. So I don't know much about Rick Ross. I just know he almost died on a plane. That's all I know about him. But listen, he got a really huge beard. This is all. So there's this stuff. When I was a little kid, I realized this pretty early on, right?
Yeah.
There were certain things that black people liked.
Facts.
That not everybody else liked. For
Facts.
example, when I was a little kid, all black people either smoked Newports or Cool Filter Kings.
Right.
Those were the 2 cigarettes they all smoked. You either got a Newport or Cool Filter Kings.
Was there a propaganda commercial?
With a K.
Or was just the hood?
There was a propaganda for the menthols.
Word.
They tried to sell the menthols to the poor community, somehow more flavor.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for them. But that was locked in. And now the newest thing is the brothers love lemon pepper.
All flat.
Love it. See,
Flat.
I love hot. I like spicy.
Right.
So the Chipotle's good. I like the hot barbecue.
Yeah. Right.
I had this the other day. It was a hot garlic parm lemon pepper.
Now listen,
I had that. That
that's
was pretty
elite.
good.
That
was
elite.
really good. That was really good.
Now you're right. I 100% love lemon pepper. It's like lemon pepper is a new Buffalo. How about that? That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
And it's been around for a while. Now. It's been about a decade.
About a decade.
The first time I saw, and I can't remember who was on. There's that show, like Hot Wings.
The Hot Wings, when you got to eat and testify or something like that.
I'm trying to remember it might have been Beyonce. It was somebody on there, right? It was an African-American woman, and she was talking about how she loved lemon pepper. Man. And I was like, there we go, lemon pepper.
Right.
So I enjoy watching that show.
I'm with
that
you,
show
though.
Funny, man.
Wait, you said Parmesan garlic.
It was a hot garlic Parmesan lemon pepper.
Dang, I'm about to order that.
It was bomb. It was good, man. My son really loves the Parmesan garlic. That's his favorite.
Yeah.
Again, I like it hot, so whatever you do with that.
Chipotle honey is good too, though.
I've had that, and it's a little sweet, but I do like it.
For sure.
That's why I'm not a huge fan of just straight barbecue.
Yeah.
There's a place
like you
in
can always
town.
get barbecue.
Yeah, there's a place in town that's known for their things they do wing-wise, right? Mm-hmm. And they have one with but it's a barbecue mixed with teriyaki, which kind of cuts the sweetness.
I want to taste that too.
It's actually pretty good. It's Blair sauce. I think they call it something like that.
All right.
It's pretty good. So Tuesdays, Taco Tuesday, Wednesday, Dollar
Wing
Wednesday, wings.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Tuesdays.
And
Taco
also
Tuesday.
today, all week long, $4 Red Bull watermelon margaritas.
Right.
Don't forget about that as well. It's a big
For sure.
special. As long as that's a special, we'll talk about it because, Red Bull's paying us too.
Yep.
If you're looking for an elevated sports bar experience, and you're not downtown, and maybe we're out west, and you're like, I just want to go to a sports bar that's elevated. It's got great TVs, and it's got great atmosphere and great food. Elkhorn now.
Yep.
That's right. Let It Fly West is open and waiting for you. I drove by it the other day.
Man, you didn't stop in?
It was early. It was like about 9:30.
Yeah.
We were going. My son was in the Elkhorn Band Olympics, which was taking place over at Elkhorn South.
Right.
And so we were swinging over to the Costco to get some stuff.
Right.
And then we were going to the Band Olympics. And so we drove by. I was like, hey, Let It Fly.
Yeah, it's the same vibe, a quarter of the experience. You're not gonna get no place bigger than this one.
I know this is.
But it's the exact same experience.
It's pretty good.
And the main TV is actually like the main TV.
Is it the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Nice.
100%.
Reminder, because of the Let It Fly West, one of the changes made here, similar to there, is they have a lot of half orders of stuff.
Word.
So if you like the nachos in the can,
yep,
they have a half size down.
So that means the prices go down too.
That's right. They have the half order of wings. They have a bunch of half stuff compared to what used to be a full one.
Right.
So if you're by yourself or maybe you don't want a lot to eat,
yep,
that kind of thing as well.
For sure.
Big show for you today. Chet Fortune, who is kind of a legend in the area. He was one of the top 50 hottest male trainers in the country in 2017. Shape magazine named him that.
That's a big deal, though, bro.
It's a big deal, man.
That's a big deal.
And he said he was just messing around with the camera, and he was like, I'm going to send a couple pictures in. And he made the list.
Man.
He's a motivational speaker. That's why I've heard him before. And, of course, he is strength and conditioning coordinator for Bud Crawford and many others.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I stepped in the gym with him a few times. Post-retirement, though. Just because I had the itch to try to get back.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Stepped in the gym with. If you look at that dude, you're like, I don't need to go in the gym with him.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
That's how it worked out.
Matter of fact, I could use some pizza.
It worked out just like that, bro. Like real good dude, real intense. Can't wait to hear his story.
Yeah. I got to get. So we're taping this on February 25th.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get back to 200 pounds by August 23rd.
That's easy. Come to my crib.
Because it's the 50th.
Cooking.
It's our 50-mile march, right? And I got to get back to 200 before that date. So I am on the keto diet right now. So I'm only eating meat, basically, and some veg, a little bit of veggies. Also, I'm doing a little bit of what do you call it? I don't eat like 8 hours a day.
For sure. Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
I got you, bro.
Yes.
Intermittent fasting.
Ozempic, bitch. all that too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get under 200 pounds. So we'll see. You know what's going to help me is my wife is constantly like, "Hey, you want this cookie?
Damn.
Hey, you want the rest of this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not eating that." And then she goes all the time, "I forgot." You ain't forget. Hey, have some of this ice cream. I don't want no ice cream.
No, she dead serious.
I forgot.
She is.
How you forget?
Because, bro, it's just in routine. Because if you wasn't going for this, it's like, we be eating this cookie. Man, stop playing.
I'm actually not a huge sweets person.
Really?
But my wife
Me
is.
either.
She doesn't finish a lot of stuff.
Oh, so you want my wife too? Right? I'll be telling my wife I'm good. You might as well eat that last bite.
Yeah, I know. I ordered the other day. We went to Costco, right? And of course we got the $1.50 hot dog and drink.
For sure.
So we got one for my son. She got one. I got one out the bun.
Yep.
And she's like, she's almost done eating, and she goes, "You want this last piece?" I'm like, "It was this much." I'm like, "No."
Hey, so you just taught me something, bro. That's a love language.
That's a woman thing. They just trying to give you a little bit of. I don't want it.
Hey,
I'm not eating your ice cream.
You really preaching.
I'm not eating your ice cream.
You don't even know.
I'm not eating your ice cream.
And the thing is, I never turned it down one time.
Yeah, I know. That's why I weigh 232 pounds. Headlines.
Dude, it's crazy.
We start with Creighton. And it's not just that. It's the kids have leftovers too. You be eating your kids' leftovers. Me and my leftovers.
Facts.
Trust me, little leftovers.
Yeah.
Just the leftovers now are just meat. Today, which is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Last night I made a chicken thighs in a mushroom cream sauce.
Damn.
It's a keto dish.
Dang.
And so I had the leftovers for that today.
For sure.
On Sunday I made these. I made the steak. It's a pinacana steak.
Yep.
Made some of that and had that left over the next day and every day. I had
Just put it right there.
Yeah. Oh, your food coming in.
Yeah.
Oh man, bring the food over in here. Bring your food in here. What's your name? Bella. Bella, bring the man wings and his fries.
Yeah. So I ordered this earlier.
Yes. And
thank you, Bella.
That's lemon pepper and a bunch of fries.
I wasn't playing. Yeah.
I know you weren't playing.
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't tell them all flats. Bella, you didn't make it all flats.
Half of them are.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Thank you very much, Bella.
Thank you.
All right, let's do the headlines so you can get to eating.
For sure.
Our first headline is Creighton Blue Jays.
Yep.
Win 13 of the last 15 games.
They've been hooping.
Man. 12 of the last 15 games.
Right.
They're second place in the Big East behind St. John's.
And it's not even just about the wins. It's how they winning.
How they're winning, yeah.
Yeah, like they're finishing games. Mm-hmm. They're not fouling, and the guards are stepping up.
They've been a good team to bet their opponent in the first half.
Yeah.
Because they're letting teams in the first half kind of get off and get started.
Word.
Georgetown even got started early. And then in the second half, they kind of take over the game.
Right.
DePaul Wednesday night. That's the day this will be airing. Then
do you know the DePaul record?
13-18 maybe? Is that right? 13-18?
I only asked just because I think about where they were, and I haven't really checked them out. I thought
they were third. I know they're not on any kind of bracket. I know that. They're not in that position.
Okay.
So I know they're not there. But I thought when I looked at the
I'm not going to say anyway. I ain't trying to disrespect them.
I checked out the stand. Well, still, you look at the teams they're playing.
Word.
The only team that's really, you could say, is a real threat would be Xavier.
Yes.
Xavier would be the team you'd worry about a little bit at least, even though Xavier is, I think, on the outside
They're on outside
of the tournament currently. Like they're one of the last 4 out or whatever. So DePaul is, overall, they are 2-15. That's not right. That's conference schedule. Where's the overall schedule? Overall, that's weird. You got to add them up. Okay, so they are. I was close. They're 12-23. 12-23.
I wanted to compare that to the last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, good. Good for them.
Yeah. You mentioned St. John.
They're 11-17 overall. Sorry. I was close with it.
St. John's.
So they have DePaul Wednesday night at Xavier, at Seton Hall, Creighton, and Butler. That's the last 4.
Right.
Yeah, that's the last 4 they have.
That St. John's game was it just shows how, remember, and this is one of my things I was saying about your boy. We ain't going to say his name on camera, but I was trying to say you get Patino 1 year, it's going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
How?
Even last year, so they were about 1 game out of being in the tournament.
Right.
And I'm telling you, last year, if that team would have gotten a tournament, the offense they run, the way they do play defense, the way they scramble, they would have given somebody some problems.
Right. And we need UConn going to be we're going to get a lot of teams in the tournament again, but I love when the Big East does well. It makes great for an NCAA tournament.
Yeah, this isn't so you have St. John's at 24-4, that's the number 1 seed in the Big East heading to New York at Madison Square Garden. Then you have Creighton and Marquette. There's only a game difference between them.
I forgot about Marquette.
And then you have UConn.
Man.
And then after that is Xavier. Like you mentioned, Xavier's kind of on the outside looking in. So you only got 3 teams last year. You may only get 4 this year.
You might only get 4.
Depending on what happens in the Big East
tournament. But they're going to hold it down, though.
Who are those
That's
teams?
my thing I'm trying to say.
I completely understand. What do you think happens over the last 4? You think the Creighton wins out?
I think
again, DePaul, the night this airs on Wednesday, at Xavier, at Seton Hall, then home for Butler.
I think it's winning time. So I think
Butler is 13.
Tell me them again. One more time.
They are DePaul at Xavier,
Yep.
at Seton Hall, Butler at home.
I think if they get past the Xavier game, they win out.
I think they go 3-1.
Yes.
I think they go 3-1.
I think Xavier has a chance to get them.
I think they go 3-1. I mean, they've been hot. Like I said, they've won 12 of their last 15.
I think so.
Number 2 headline, Nebraska, impossible to predict.
I know, man.
Nebraska is very similar.
And they got the look they needed.
Esijan. He should have hit that shot. A lot of people are mad because he took the 3. They're like, why don't you go get a 2 and give it to Bryce Williams?
It's a rhythm.
But, he was in the rhythm. He's your best shooter.
That's a basketball player.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. I live with that.
Nebraska is much like, I give you an example of what they are. They're a lot like pizza. Pizza all looks kind of the same, right? On a given day.
Yeah.
But there's a huge difference.
For sure.
On a given day, Nebraska will look and you'll go, oh, that's not a bad basketball team.
Trying to tell you.
Then you watch them against Penn State, and you're like, oh, they're a bad basketball team. Then you watch them trying to play offense. When we taped this, it would have been last night against Michigan.
Right.
They look drunk.
Man, look.
They look, both teams look drunk.
I can't predict them and figure it out. I thought it was a locker room problem. Then they come out and hoop.
Yeah.
Then when I think they're going to come out and hoop, they sandbag. And I just
don't. They go down 20 to Northwestern and rally back and win the second half.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
and then you almost beat the best team.
Almost beat Michigan.
And you a shot away.
Yeah, yep. So they have left. So they have home for Minnesota.
Yep.
That's on March 1st. Then they go on the road against Ohio State. Ohio State's kind of on a bubble looking in,
For
too.
sure, yep.
And then you're at home against Iowa. They owe payback to Iowa for that game where they're up 15, and Iowa comes back and kind of started off on that 6-game losing streak. How do you think Nebraska finishes?
Can you give me the last three?
I will give you the last three once again.
Yep.
They're playing against Minnesota. They go on the road for Ohio State and come back home and play Iowa. Minnesota is currently sitting at 14-13. Iowa is at 15-12. And who was the first one I said? Minnesota. I said that.
Iowa.
I said Iowa. Who did I leave out?
Ohio State.
Oh, that's the one. They can beat. If they beat Ohio State, they're sitting at 15-13. They beat Ohio State. I think they're in.
Right.
Because I think
is Ohio State a home game?
That's the one road game.
Okay.
That's the one road game.
Nebraska goes. They go 3-1.
They only got 3 games left.
Or 2-1. Sorry.
So they go 2-1.
Yeah.
That means they would have 9 conference wins.
Mm-hmm.
They would have at least 5, maybe 6, depending on what happens with the net of quad 1 wins.
Right.
You would think they're in, but the way things are going,
NIT
they may win.
Looking real nice.
They may have to win a couple games
in the tournament.
In the Big Ten tournament.
You gotta go quarterfinals.
But right now, according to Bracket Project, they're right at a 10-11 seed.
Gotcha.
They're the last 4 in.
Okay.
Currently, last 4 in. So they need to win.
Yeah.
Last headline is NFL Combine is this week, as I mentioned earlier.
Right.
4 Nebraska players there.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Fidone, the tight end. Tommy Hill, the cornerback. Ty Robinson, your defensive tackle. And Isaiah Nair, the wide receiver. Which of those 4 do you think will do the most to help his stock heading into the draft?
Wide receiver.
Isaiah Nair?
Yeah. Yes.
He's certainly going to measure well.
That's why.
He's going to measure well.
I think that's
He's
what matters.
He's a long wingspan.
Yeah, I think
it's like an 81 wingspan. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that potential alone, and as far as like what he can just, I mean,
he'll run well.
I think he did enough in his college career to where they're just going to see him in person.
I think he's got to give good interviews because it did feel like he kind of quit on Nebraska after he dropped that pass against Iowa.
Okay.
So they're going to have to answer that question.
Right. And you know them interviews be crazy.
Yeah. And then he's got to go through physical because he's had some injuries in his career as well. But he had a good East-West Shrine game week, according to everybody who was there. So
that's what I'm saying. It's too much upside.
Yeah.
You can't turn down a guy like – I would take a risk on a guy with his measurables versus not.
I think it's Thomas Fidone.
Okay.
Because Thomas Fidone is going to measure in guy joked the other day, said he's kind of like a pterodactyl in terms of his wingspan. I think he's going to run better than maybe they expect. I think he'll catch the ball fine in the gauntlet and the drills. I think right now people look at him and they're not quite sure. I think when he comes out of the combine, I think he's going to be a locked late 4th, early 5th round pick.
Okay, I see how you're looking at it. I'm looking at him. The way you're looking at him, I'm looking at your boy.
Isaiah Nair?
Yeah.
I see that. No,
that's
he's
all.
Got a lot.
Yeah.
Isaiah Nair's got a long way to move. He's mostly about – most people have him estimated as a 7th round pick. So he's got a lot of leeway. Man,
so you think Fidone can go 5?
I think he can go as high as late 4.
Well, that's because
I think Ty Robinson going to 4.
Yeah, he's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't been a great blocker, but they'll look at him and go, don't worry, we can make him into a good blocker. With the way he catches the ball in the middle of the field, could he be kind of a Gronk type? And he's also got to do the physical. He's got to go through the medical stuff because of the 2 ACLs and the injuries he's had. So
my favorite question for you.
Yes, sir.
Who goes number 1?
So I think it's Cam Ward. I think people value quarterbacks so much.
Yeah.
I think if I was Tennessee, I wouldn't. I would go best player overall, personally. It wouldn't be Cam Ward because I have some questions about Cam Ward. It wouldn't be Shador. I don't know about his arm strength. I don't know about some of the things when I watch him play. He's in the right system. I think he'd be very good. I don't know in a system that has nothing around him, kind of like Tennessee has, how he would do in that. I think it's going to be Cam Ward. I wouldn't go Cam Ward.
Okay.
That's what I think would happen.
Yeah.
I think Travis Hunter's somewhere in the top 5.
Yeah.
Penn State outside linebacker, defensive end, rush in.
I see
he goes somewhere in the top
Travis
3, 4.
Hunter in the top 5. But when I think of him, you know who I honestly think about?
Who?
Dante Smith.
Dante Smith.
Yeah.
Who's Dante Smith?
From the Eagles.
Oh, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Devontae's skinnier than he is.
What?
Definitely skinnier.
That's crazy.
He's skinnier than Devontae. I believe was like 175. at the combine.
Guy
I think
is a
Travis
beast, bro.
Hunter will be a little thicker than that.
Guy is a beast.
I think you play him at corner, and then you occasionally play him at a wide receiver. Kind of like what Deion was. I think that's how you do it.
I respect that.
We will take a break. When we come back, our guest this week, Chet Fortune, who is a strength and conditioning coordinator and motivational speaker. We'll chat with him about getting Josh and Michael in shape when we come back here on Let It Fly Show. All right, welcome back to the Let It Fly Show. Our guest this week, Chet Fortune, who does a lot of stuff. He's a motivational speaker. He's owner of Warrior Fitness. Of course, strength and conditioning with Team Crawford. And at one point, top 50 hottest trainers in America, or the world even.
I'll take it.
For Shape Magazine, no doubt. Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
How's life for you, bro?
Hey, ups and downs,
Busy.
like, you deal with it. I'm 41 now, and, I'm just realizing that life is, you're figuring out the whole time, no matter how old you get. I think my parents, they're about to celebrate their 50th anniversary this Saturday, which
Congrats
is incredible, hard to do.
Incredible, yeah.
But, I think, even at their age, they probably got some figuring it out things.
Still.
In their life.
Yeah, I agree. I think that life is all about, like, the marathon, and just when you think you got it figured out, there's always something else.
Always something.
So I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, you know the line.
Yeah.
Winning is doing something better the next day, every day.
For sure.
You just keep doing that. You end up winning. So you kind of went through some stuff. So you started off in banking.
Banking was I started off. I was working for J.C. Penney.
Okay.
All
right.
High school. So
Wait.
Which one?
South Roads?
Yeah, South Roads.
Look at it.
The outlet.
That was actually the outlet. When I first moved here, I didn't have no big jacket.
Yeah.
That was the first place I went.
The good one.
I got a big jacket. Yeah.
But yeah, I worked at South Roads J.C. Penney in high school.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed making money. Like, I was big into sports, played football, track, and excelled at it.
Right.
But I like making money too. So
yeah, for sure.
Out of high school, like, it was just a incredible opportunity to be one of the first interns that Pfizer Pharmaceuticals had.
That is an amazing opportunity.
They didn't have interns, and then they had an intern program through this organization called
Who put you
Inroads.
on, or how'd you get intact with it?
So Inroads was an organization that they had professional development for high school youth.
Okay.
And, they really catered to minorities.
Right.
And so Pfizer had a pharmaceutical intern program that they were starting, the year that I was a senior in high school. And I think he ran through about 150 interviews and applications for Pfizer. It was an organization that, I didn't know much about.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
senior in high school.
Somebody just said, "Hey, you should do this."
Yeah,
and you just went for it.
And but I was just thinking, like, this is an incredible opportunity. After talking to the regional manager, he saw a lot of himself in me. He was a regional manager at that time. Doing very well.
Right.
But saw like another young black, ambitious type individual.
Right.
And they paid me like a full-time pharmaceutical rep.
Wow.
So, sent me to New York for 2 months, then Chicago for a month.
What year was this?
This is 2001.
Man.
So, right out of high school, I've got a I say it a lot, but if I would have stayed in that position, I'd probably be retired by
no doubt.
40.
But it was about passion and purpose, though, right?
Passion, purpose, and at the time I was just naive, just thinking like, I can do something else. Like I wanted to manage people. So
no doubt.
I moved from that pharmaceutical position after a few years because even in college they paid me like a full-time rep, let me go to school.
Right.
I called on doctors when I could. Weekends I do my travel and then I wanted a manager position. So my girlfriend at the time, she was working at a collection agency.
Okay.
They didn't have a cap on bonus, and I knew I could sell. Obviously, I got a lot of real good sales experience through the pharmaceutical.
Yep.
And then, I excelled there. So I was a collections manager within a year.
Dang.
And, even at that time, they didn't have, and the reason why they moved me to collection manager, again, it was uncapped.
Right.
And I was just hungry.
Cleaning them up.
Yeah, I was hard. Like collections is, you're selling the idea of something that somebody's already determined they're not going to pay.
Right.
But I built relationships, got people laughing on the phone, and they made me collection manager. They capped the bonuses
because of you.
Exactly. And, said, hey,
that ain't fair.
Yeah. So hey, you can train these other individuals. You can make more money. So did that for a while. That's when I moved to banking because I was like, collections is not a career ender. So moved to U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank was my first banking position, and I stepped in as a branch manager. Never was a teller. Didn't have any banking experience, but again, the district manager just saw a lot, and, did well there, kind of hopped from bank to bank from there. Like I worked for American National Bank. I worked for Wells Fargo for a while.
Wow.
And, at the end of the day, I just knew, at the time, that's when, they've changed regulations recently.
Yeah.
But that was when, banking was not a good thing. They were doing all kinds of reverse loans.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like making a lot of money. And, they've changed that recently to making it back to that, which is not a great thing at all for a lot of people. But I just knew banking wasn't for me. I just didn't want to do mortgages. And you're only as good as your last month. So you can bring in a ton in loans. Yeah. And that's great, But what are you going to do in March?
Exactly.
So like that was just a shift to, what is it I really want to do? I always knew I wanted to run a business. Yeah. And so from there.
It's janitorial.
Yep. Like he's done his research.
But it's just crazy though, because you kind of like, it's like, I'm trying to define the superhero character that describes you. Yeah. Because your utility belt, it's like, when people see you, they see you for all the other things on the fitness side, but actually talking to you, the depths of you and the things that you do, man, the scope is so far beyond.
Yeah, business is prevalent, it's always been a passion of mine. So, like he said, lifetime janitorial. I just was like, I want to run my own business, and like my grandfather, he had a business, so my dad, had worked for that. He kind of had some insight. One of my good friends, he was older, but lived up the street from me. He owned a janitorial service, and I saw he always had the newest Jeep. He was cool and smooth.
Glad it wasn't a dope dealer, Kingpin. Like, he'd be selling drugs.
You would have thought, because he had the gator shoes and just always clean. Yeah, and, so I talked to his name was MT Milton Thomas.
Okay,
Money Talks.
That's what he say. I feel you.
MT Money Talks, but definitely at OG style and just cool. And like I knew I could piggyback off of his success. Yeah. And so I got the janitorial service going, and I was getting contracts. Yeah. And like right off the bat, I was just like, I can get contracts because I can sell.
Wow.
But I hate cleaning.
No, I
hate cleaning. Some of these jobs.
But it was an end though.
It was an end.
Nasty.
I remember
people are nasty.
Bought my equipment, bought my van, I had this white Astro van on Dubs.
Van.
On Dubs. It was on a 20-inch black ring, had the logo that I made, it was just.
What was the name of the cleaning business?
It's called Lifetime Janitorial. It had this big star that had like wash bubbles behind it,
For sure.
Nice.
But I was doing my vibe, I had my polo shirts, we look,
What year was this?
This has got to be 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, so you got a decade of like understanding business.
Oh, yeah.
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
And you always had a means to want to do your own thing.
That, was always from high school. Like I just knew I wanted to be my own man. But,
bro.
Lifetime janitorial, like I said, we were getting contracts, but I very quickly realized this is not a passion of mine. I hate showing up and people are dirty.
They are dirty people.
Like I had this school that was like kids and it was just like, and then they want you to do other things like, the scope of the work. Like, I'm a janitorial service.
Right.
Like why you're telling me about lights that need to be fixed and
that's
other things that are,
so they treat you like the maintenance man, but you're just doing janitorial.
You guys need to hire, every time I come in, I don't mind unclogging the toilet or something, to clean it.
Yeah, that's my job description.
Every single time I come in, that toilet is clogged. Y'all need to call a plumber and get
it.
So
well, stop letting that kid go to that toilet.
Yeah, so I started looking at other opportunities. I think that's when I moved out. American National was my last stop with banking, and I was there for a while. Did really well, the two branches that I had, because first they wanted to put me on 30th and Ames.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Obviously, that's
I'm the black
representation,
guy. The black guy. But you seen that though. It wasn't really. It was. They tried to. Do you think it was more so they tried to make it like representation matter, or because he black, let's put him there?
They knew I could mix in with that community better than and it made sense.
Yeah.
Like,
was Ernest White there?
Not yet.
He was.
He was back then. He's still there now. He's still there now. Yeah,
that's my boy.
I think when I started,
every time I see him.
When I started there, Ernest had been there like 15, 20 years. Like,
I think he's been there 35 years.
Like, man,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
my mom loved him. Yeah,
hey, you love money too.
Do,
you know, like because he's
that's cool.
And to talk about, it's funny because Ernest is one of the. And it still might be this way. It would not surprise me. But when I worked there, he was the only black commercial banker in the region, like 5-state region. Mm-hmm. So, you know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
supervisor,
exactly. So he was doing well for himself, and you know, like obviously he found a niche. And he's
no doubt. He holding it down.
A lot of connections too.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know, from there, like it was kind of the same. Like, you know, like banking is just not what I want to do forever. So where am I going to go with this?
Right.
And then, you know, like knowing business, like what am I really passionate about?
There you go.
So, you know, from the time I left high school, I worked out every day. You know,
just like part of like regimen.
It was just, prioritize myself. You know, like it's something I enjoy for many different reasons, you know, like, and so I just knew, I was like, man, there's people at the bank, there's people at these even side jobs that I've had that follow me to the gym.
Gotcha.
You know, like, what time you working out? You know, like, I worked at the casino at not Ameristar, but a Horseshoe for a little while, part-time. And people 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning follow me to 24-hour fitness working out, like 3-4 people. Like, so I'm thinking like, you know, I could probably get paid to do this.
Yeah, make a business out of it.
Yeah, not even thinking like, not knowing it's my passion, just knowing it's just something that always.
So let me ask you this.
Oh, for Chet Fortune joining us here on Let It Fly Show.
You always worked out. What was high school like? What did you letter in sport wise? Like, you worked out, but like, you know, I just see a lot of business.
Football was my like glory. Like, you know, like 8th grade, I used to like Michigan. So, you know, like a Michigan fan in Nebraska, like, you know.
My father-in-law, bro,
not around
Eastside Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I call him today because Michigan lost, he won't answer.
So people get mad when I'm wearing like a Michigan jacket. You know, I had people trying to fight me.
Coming up in 97, sure.
You know, and, at the same time, it was, you know, like the reason I like Michigan's 8th grade. I'm talking about 8th grade football had Michigan scouts coming to my games.
Dang.
And so, you know, like I'm like, this first like D1 college that you know, is coming to games. Like I like y'all. I'm gonna go to Michigan
for sure.
And then I got to high school, and I'll never forget. You know, my freshman year, like I'm playing JV. They're trying to work in. You know, like I was short. Real short. Yeah. I was like short, 5'5", 5'4" in high school.
Yep.
And, you know, I didn't have the size, but I always had the speed.
Okay.
And, you know, first week, I'm about to go for the JV game. All week long, I'm cooking everybody on the team, cooking them.
Yep.
And, you know, we get to the game, and, you know, coach was like, we're going to start Brett. Brett Cole. We're going to start Brett Cole because he had the size.
Yeah, that's tough, though.
Mind you, I played with Brett, you know, my whole life, you know, since 4th, 5th grade.
Right.
You know, and this dude's always been my backup.
Exactly.
Like, this dude's
the politics.
You know, put my backup. Like, come on, like, you know.
Where were you at school? What school?
Bellevue West.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so I'm like, no, like, you know. So I go into the game. I remember they put me in the second half, and you know, second half I got like 200 yards, like 4 touchdowns, and I'm thinking, okay, week 2.
Oh, I'm starting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm starting. My point. Brett, he had an okay game. You know, got a few touches. You know, didn't do much, but I'm like, all right, I'm starting. Second week comes along, same thing during practice that week. I'm cooking everybody. Second week, we're going to start Brett. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run track. Cause in track, you know, it's just, we go there with a team, but honestly, I don't care if the team wins or not. I got first place, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like track, I excelled at, and that's what I ran with till, you know, like later my junior year, senior year.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, when I started working. And I was just like, man, you know, like I got a girlfriend, I'm making money. Yeah. You know, I run track, but I don't care about it as much. You know, my whole family ran track. My brother ran at UNL. My dad was successful in track. Yeah. But, you know, I started working senior year, and I was like, I'm just going to work, you know.
But always worked out.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. That part never left. You know, like I was always at, you know, like, before practice, after practice, still training in some capacity. You know, like even when I wasn't playing for a team, I still was probably out working most of the individuals on the team. You know, just because that's what I enjoyed. You know, I just like feeling strong, like feeling fast, and wanted to jump. You know, I'm 5'5", still could dunk. You know? And at the same time, like it was just I learned that was my passion. So, you know, like working for that last bank, American National, I remember like it was yesterday, it was just like, you know what, like I'm gonna get my CPT, Certified Personal Trainer certificate. But I don't, you know, I see the trainers at 24 Hour Fitness. I see the trainers at these other gyms. I have no, you know, desire to, like, I'm like 200 pounds, like all muscle, like,
exactly.
Like I have no desire to be like them or train like them.
Right.
And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get my CPT. I'm going to find some space and I'm going to open a gym.
That was Warrior Fitness.
That was Warrior Fitness.
You guys committed everything to that
2012,
too, right?
yeah. Like, and I remember.
That's when I told you he bust my chops when I retired. I was like, man, I'm done. What am I doing this for? I went with Niles Paul.
You don't
remember that?
Yeah.
It was all three of us.
Niles, I remember Niles first time he came out, you know, that was just always me. Like, you know, no matter how many boot camp classes I had or personal training sessions, like I literally worked out with every single session.
That's what we was tripping off of.
And
he was doing it with us.
Everybody,
I wanted to be their bunny, you know. Right. And so when I got like those elite athletes that popped in, I wanted to see where I'm at, you know. So like first time Niles came out, like I wasn't trying to, you know, like, you know, make them burn him out or nothing like that. But I remember his dad came with him too, Greg. Greg brought him out because I think he came out twice. But you know, like I'm putting through this work and I'm doing it with him. And you know, like everything, you know, like I don't need to lift all that weight. Well, I'm gonna lift it. You can lift what you feel like, and I'm gonna keep up with you. And you see me, you know, much smaller than you, pushing, you know, like it should do something in your mind. I'm that bunny. And, you know, he threw up. He threw up. That's okay. You know, hey, we're going to finish the workout. Thing, you know what I mean? So, like, that was, like, just my mentality, you know, going to that gym. But when I opened the gym, like, it wasn't like I knew I was going to get there to where elite athletes would even come in my door. It was just, I knew at that time, like, this is something that I'm always going to do. It's never going to leave me. So, you know, let me just find some space and it'll work. So I went in, I found some space finally. And, you know, it was in May. Signed all the contracts for it to open June 1st. And then, you know, like my issue with just the corporate world was like meeting after meeting after meeting. Like we got meetings about meetings.
About me. Yes, facts.
And, you know, like, so to me, it was just like, I'm tired of this. So we had a meeting and I remember I left that meeting and I went into the regional manager's, Patrick Spencer, went into his office. I was like, Pat, hey, you know, I found some space. I'm gonna open a gym.
Dang.
And, you know, we got 2 weeks. You know, like I didn't have clients. I didn't have, you know, like
you
I
bet
had
on yourself.
I was somewhat, you know, trying to put together a business plan, but I was like, you know, I just need to get in there. And I'm gonna tell my friends about it, you know. And, you know, lo and behold, you know, I did that. First month was a struggle. You got friends, and you know you think your friends and family are going to be the ones that
are your customers, so to speak, clientele. But
they're far from it. You know, like those are all the people that want deals,
free.
Discounts, free,
and
you know, like they're not supporting the way that you would think they would support. So, you know, I still believed in it. Month 2 was a struggle. Month 3, I went with Groupon, and Groupon, like, you know, they kill you because what they do is they take. So okay, you got group camp classes, right? So they'll find in your area who's got the cheapest group camp classes. So, you know, like this is similar style, similar what you do. And, you know, let's say you want to charge 100, 150 a month. This organization charges 65 a month. So we think your rate should be 65 a month.
Right.
And then what we're going to do for that Groupon for people to buy into it is we're going to offer it for 35 a month. And then they take half of that.
Dang.
So, you know, like you're looking at, you know, I got 17 and obviously it did work for a little while because it started to bring people in.
Yeah, because they seen the work. They had to come in.
They had to come in.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, but what I found out very quickly with Groupon is those Groupon customers are Groupon customers.
Yeah.
So once that Groupon
they done with you.
They don't want that next, you know, deal.
Right.
So, you know, like what I will say is, you know, like because of the passion and you know, working with everybody and, you know, checking on them when they weren't in the gym. Trying to build that relationship from all that sales experience that I had before. Just relationship building.
Gotcha.
That I was able to keep, you know, a decent percent, you know, like probably more than most. And then from there, you know, word of mouth. And then, you know, 3 years later, Shape Magazine.
Then
that's
2014.
And then 2014, right after that Shape Magazine, that's when, you know, Kenny Anatolu and and Zach Miller, you know, and that's when Niles Paul, you know, that's when they start filtering in. And it kind of transitioned to late 2014, early 2015. I went to a fight of buds.
Yeah, that was 2015
in Omaha. And I went with a friend of mine. We sat ringside. I kind of knew Red, like me and him.
Red, okay, yeah.
We had some similar connections back then. It was just Facebook.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Red, because I'm sitting there at the fight. They're walking by. I'm dabbing them up as they walk by. Red was the only one that really knew me. And I look at my friend, and I'm like Justin, like I'm gonna train him one day.
Nice.
And he'd already beat Ricky Burns. He was already a champion, and selling out Omaha.
Yeah,
sure.
And so he just looked at me like, whatever, like whatever.
I've been there.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna train him one day. Watch. And it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I hit up Red, and I was like, get Bud to come stop out at the gym. Like, I'm not asking him for nothing. I just really want him to pop out, try it out.
Right.
And I'm not thinking I'm going to be his coach or anything like that. I'm just thinking I want to promote my gym, have him pop out. Look who trained here today, right? So he popped out. Well, no, matter of fact, Red, he was just like, just hit him up on Facebook.
Yep.
I'm thinking like, okay, just anybody out there, oh, you got a celebrity or you got an actor, you got somebody, you admire or you look up to, just hit them up on Facebook or Instagram. Hit them up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm never going to hear from
Bud's
this
a
dude.
man of the people, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm never going to hear from this dude. Like, okay, Red's just, throwing in the back. Like, I'm asking you to reach out.
Red literally said, just hit him up.
On Facebook. So I'm thinking, like, I'm never going to hear from Bud ever.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks later, he's like, all right, I'll come try it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, bet. So he comes out and, mind you, I had 5,000 square feet, decent sized gym, and it's just me and him in the gym. It doesn't show up with nobody, none of his coaches.
Yeah, that's how he rolls. Yeah,
just popped in by himself, and I'm like, cool, and same concept as everybody else. Like, this is a world champion. I want to see where I'm at.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to put him through some good work.
This is your story.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm with you.
Exactly.
I'm with
so
you.
I'm like, I want to see, I know how I train and how hard I go.
Yeah.
Let's see where I'm at. So push him. And, he loves to work out.
He does.
And he's like, you know what? I want to come back on Friday. I'm like, all right, bet. Let me grab a picture. Like, hey, we got to snap up real quick.
Yeah, because I need this for my promotion.
I'm not charging you nothing. I just need to. And so he's like, yeah, cool, whatever. He pops back out Friday. I put him through a hell of work, and enjoys it again. We're playing, like, I got like a little basketball court back there playing basketball.
Yeah.
He didn't beat me, bro.
Not what he says.
Come on.
I ask,
Not what he says.
My name's Bennett. You know what I mean? Like, I'm Team Crawford.
Well, you never beat me one-on-one,
I'm Team Crawford. So,
Respect.
So when did you get on full time with this?
So, like after that Friday workout, we're playing some basketball, then we're just sitting on, I got like these big tractor tires in the back, sitting on a tractor tire. He's like, man, it's like some of the best work I've had, and I've had a lot of work, and I just wanted to ask you, like, what would it take to bring you out to training camp and make you my strength coach?
This is your first, like, real, like, break, so to speak.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of it.
No.
Like, I wasn't even, like, it had – my classes at that time, I got boot camp classes with 65, 70 people. Like,
I think I ran into you at one of the events at the it's Liberty First. What's it called now?
Union out.
Yeah.
And we talked in the suite. And you didn't know what you was doing. You just said you was training.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of putting stuff on the timeline on when
So you had to stop everything to go with him?
Literally, he worked out Wednesday, came back out Friday. And, after the workout, again, my mind's not even there. He busts that question on me. And I'm like, where's training camp at? How long is it? Where's it at? Because, he was like, oh, we're going to leave. And I'm like, he's like 6 weeks and it's in Colorado Springs. And I'm like, okay, hell of an opportunity. I don't want to say no to that. Obviously something I want to do, but I don't know what to charge. I don't, I don't know anything about the boxing game.
Right.
I had an amateur coach that was coming to my gym to train me personally for, and that was my only experience was, about 2 months of some amateur boxing. So I'm thinking, I don't know what it entails. Like, so, can you just give me some time, and I'll get back to you and we'll go from there. He's like, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
But I need you to get back to me by tomorrow because we leave Sunday.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I'm like, well, okay. I'm gonna get back to you in the morning. And obviously I figured it out from there
quickly.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't gonna pass up that opportunity and, lo and behold, 10 years later.
Yeah, that was 2015.
So
now 2015.
I got a question as far as that. I just wrote down some specific questions around stuff like that.
Yeah.
So training Bud, what does it take mentally and physically to prepare a champion to perform at the highest level like he's at? Because not only the way I see you as you talking about, you giving him the work, but he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Mm-hmm. So what does it take for you to prepare him to get to that level?
You know, like,
are you training him and working on his nutrition, or is it just?
No, he's got a
his
group
own
out of New York, perfecting athletes.
You just working on his body and conditioning.
Yeah, okay. And I mean that was already set in stone. And like, you know, when I got there, you know, like I understood nutrition.
Right.
I did bodybuilding for a while, so I understood it even better. But I'm not there to step on.
No doubt.
I'm there to do my job.
Doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
But either way, that first, what does it take to answer your question, Josh? Is like he's a different animal.
Different cat.
He's different. Like I've worked with at this point, you know, I've got probably 28,000 hours worth of training at this point, you know, and I've worked with some individuals that are athletes that get in there, that push themselves, and he's just the ultimate competitor. Like it's kind of funny because when I started with the team, I remember Bomac, after one training session, it's like a Friday night, you know, we don't have to wake up early. He's like, you know, let's go to the Scar Bar. Went there with our Cigar Lounge. I went there with Red and Bo. We're just sitting at the little cigar lounge, little couch, you know, enjoying ourselves. And Bomac looks at me. He's like, you know, what's it like to join, you know, the greatest team in boxing? You know, what's it like to work with the greatest team in boxing?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to be the first to tell you, when Bud is done with his career, he'll be considered like the Michael Jordan of boxing.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that time, again, this is me, you know, not knowing, you know, like I've always enjoyed boxing. I always watched it, always been a sport enthusiast, you know, not consider myself a casual fan, like somebody who's, when I was a little kid, that's like all my dad watched. So, you know, that was been in my home forever. But I'm just looking at him thinking like, you know, the way I responded was like, you know, honestly, Bo, I'm supposed to be here because I feel like I'm the greatest trainer. You know,
Nice.
the greatest boxer, but you know, I feel like it's not like I'm a fortunate thing. He found me, you know, he felt the work, and I'm here for a reason.
Yeah,
you know?
he found somebody that can compete at the level he want to go, and you matched them.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, you know, like I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But you know, like when it comes to Bud, like I said, he's got a level that he knows how to push himself, because I think, you know, when he first started boxing, that was the end goal, to be the greatest ever, not just to be a champion, but he wanted to be, you know, the name that everybody recognized when he was done with boxing.
For sure.
So like he pushes himself. I'm not gonna say I push him to another level, but there's certain ways, you know, like, and Bud will tell you, I think why he's kept me around is like, you know, certain times where we'll be, even this past week, you know, like we'll be getting done, like, all right, you know, I'm done. Like, no, we got to do XYZ. We got to do these abs first.
Right.
You know, like, man, I already did that. Like, my body's like, no, I'm sorry, we got to do it anyway.
For sure. Right.
So, yeah, like, I'm just one of those people that, you know, like, has been in his corner that, you know, like, just knows the buttons to push, how to push them the right way, without being too, you know, demanding. Like, I'm willing to do the work with you. Like, back then when he met me, it was a little easier because, you know, I could push to that level.
Right.
Obviously, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but I had a, you know, injury that, you know, like now he just knows what I, you know, like used to be and how I used to be. And even to this point, you know, like where I'm at now, I still do the work with him.
For sure.
So it's like, you know, you don't feel like doing it, you're tired. Yeah, so am I.
Exactly.
You know, your body's beat, it hurts.
Right.
Yeah, so is mine.
You were almost destined for him.
Yeah,
like, the way that you tell your story, it seems like who you are, what you've been through, and the resilience and perseverance that you have for your own self is almost like innately matches the energy and DNA of who he is as a person. Right. And so it's like a perfect dancing partners.
Right. So, I mean, now it's like no question, like he sees me do the work, that's the motivation. But it's even before that, he just knows that's instilled. And I mean, I just got, you know, I don't think I'm any better than, there's a lot of coaches that just know how to speak to their people extremely well. Like I don't even think I'm the best at speaking to a team, you know, but like for individual to individual, I just like, I know those hot buttons.
Right.
Those buttons that, you know, like, you know, when I'm talking about, you know, this upcoming fight with Canelo, like, you know, like one of the conversations I had with Bud was like, you know, hey, Bud, like we got to get back to it. You know, like now is the time. Like, I know, you know, there's pre-camp, there's post, you know, like that calm down period before the fight. But at the end of the day, you know, like Canelo, he's getting ready for a fight in May.
Yep. Right.
As soon as that contract
be ready.
As soon as that contract is signed, he's in camp mode.
Yes.
And that's May. As soon as that May fight is done with, you think he's gonna step off the brakes for a fight in September with you?
No.
Like no. Like bro, now is if Canelo's in camp mode, camp mode is now.
Be in that,
Amen.
So I mean, and that's the things that just, and it's not like I said, I think a lot of people have those concepts, but it's just like, you know, like I know the work, willing to do the work. Yeah, it's a long time away. September is a while away.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, you know, training for a training camp is 2-3 sessions per day. You know what I mean? And it's not an easy task,
right?
And it's a long haul, but you know, like legacy's in place. Like, you know, like bro,
exactly.
you got an opportunity to do something that no boxer can ever say they've done. You know, three-time undisputed, like that might not ever happen again.
I know. Yeah.
Jumping 2 weight classes and, you know, taking out the cash cow of boxing, who a lot of people, you know, think is one of the greatest, like,
or the greatest Mexican fighter
this is
of all time.
Everything you've trained for to this point, you know, becoming a world champion. Okay, when we had that Spence fight, you know, 2 times undisputed, came out with Eminem, and, you know, like, came out, the song was perfect. You know, no, like all that. This is that moment
right now.
You know, right now is that moment.
Right.
And like we don't got time to lose. Like we don't got workouts to waste.
Right.
Every rep matters. You know, it's not every workout. Every rep. Don't waste the rep. You know what I mean? Because if you take off the brakes, or, you know, like I bodybuilt, and, you know, the first bodybuilding competition I had, I just was not naive. It's a perfect word. I just thought I could out-train anybody. You know, like I train world class. Like I'm just going to out-train everybody.
Right.
No, I don't know everything about it. I don't care that, you know, these people have been doing it for 5-6 years, never took first place, and you know, have stayed committed. Like I just know I'm just going to. Then I hopped on stage and got cooked. I got like the posing. You know, my posing was terrible. You know, all that other stuff. I got cooked. But at the same time, like that mindset. You know, like just, all right, where do we go from here? I'm not going to quit from it. But, you know, like I said, for people that hop on stage, I think the worst thought in their mind is, did I do enough?
Right.
I could have done this. I slacked on this, you know. And for me, I know that was me. Like, I should have been working on posing from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, like the nutrition piece and macros and all that. I should have been dialed in from then, you know, because everybody you hopping on stage with, they've already got that mentality.
For sure.
So, you know, same thing with this upcoming fight. Like, you know, Canelo, like, you know, it's a legacy fight for him too. It's not the reason why, you know, he was wanting too much money in the beginning, and, you know, like just kind of steering away, like just brushing it off as an option, because he knows, you know, like at the end of the day, if he loses, you know, that's a mark, it's a mark. So, you know, like I'm glad it's here. I'm glad the opportunity.
Powerful, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Chet Fortune joining us here on Let It Fly Show. Let's go to January 31st, 2021. And the accident. What happened? What do you remember from it? What ended up happening in your body?
Man, that was just a crazy time in my life. Like, you know, marriage was just falling apart. You know, my job that I was at, you know, they got rid of the position. I was at this concierge health clinic. I'm not gonna put their name out there, but built up the business, and then they were like, you know, hey, we don't. I was a unicorn. Like, you know, they didn't have, you know, like people like development specialists. You know, like marketing directors, like on site at clinics like that.
You exceeded the position.
Exceeded the position. They got to where they needed to be. And, you know, like it was during COVID too. So like there was, you know, they became like a COVID operation. They were putting out, they did COVID testing before the state even hopped on board. So UNMC didn't like it. Jean Stothert and her husband was, you know, at UNMC. Like they shut us down, you know, like this. But we went out we were in Bell Harbor. Like it's kind of, there's gentrification in Bell Harbor. And gentrification in Bell Harbor is billionaires kicking out millionaires.
Wow.
So very, you know, but we were in this, you know, very, you know, it was just profitable. So we were doing that, and that's the operation it became. We had, you know, like telehealth nurses, because the parent corporation, they were doing telehealth well before it was a thing. You know, like that was their business, like systems and IT and technology within healthcare system. And, you know, this clinic was just like an off thing they were doing. And, you know, again, my position got canceled. So it was like, we had, like one of my good friends died.
This is all in the same time. Divorce, good friend died.
So not divorce, but close
on
to
the brink,
it.
on the brink.
Like looking at where am I going? I need to move out.
Yeah.
Then I had 2 friends die back to back. The January 6th, like mess that went on, at the Capitol building, and like it's just a bad month. Then like right after that, my job, hey, we'll give you severance, and so I'm like just having trouble sleeping, and like. This is before even that time. I was already having trouble sleeping. So the nurse practitioner that was at the location I was at, he put me on a drug called Ambien.
Sure.
I know about Ambien.
So Ambien,
weird dreams.
I don't know how it's still on the market.
Yeah.
It's just, and they go through all these side effects, you know, and, hey, make sure you got plenty enough time to sleep, all this other stuff.
Sure.
So I had a good relationship with the medical director that was overseeing that clinic.
Right.
And when I left, I was like, hey, I want to start this podcast. You're a 40-year hematologist, well-respected physician, and I'm this well-respected trainer. Let's come together and make this podcast, fitness trainer, well-known doctor.
Yeah. It makes sense.
And, I just wanted a good night's sleep. It was literally the first time I ever took Ambien was a week before the incident, and got the first night of like full sleep, 8 hours, like just great sleep. It was on a Saturday night, going into Sunday. I was like, man, this is great. But, I don't like taking pills all the time. Or nothing. So like, it was like a week later, I got this podcast that we're supposed to film, the next morning. And I'm like, I just want to get a good night's sleep. I'm playing with my daughter. We're watching, and at the time she was 1 year old, my youngest. But we're watching Enter the Dragon, one of my favorite movies.
Come on now.
What y'all know about that out there?
I got this 1 year old girl, like she's downstairs. It's just me and her. I'm trying to introduce her to Bruce Lee, And,
Bruce Leroy.
Mm-hmm. So she goes upstairs, she's ready to go to sleep, goes upstairs with her mom, and I take the pill. I'm like, I'm going to lay it down. It's like 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let's get this good night's sleep so I can be ready for this podcast in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Take the pill, fall asleep, and 4 days later I woke up in UNMC, in ICU.
What?
Surgeon looking at me saying, Chet, are you with us?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you with us? Like,
where am I?
Exactly. Where, what's going on? Like got like 2-3 people in the room looking over me like, oh, he's awake. I'm thinking like, and heavily medicated, obviously. And he's like, I'm sorry to tell you, you were in a tragic car accident, and you probably can't feel anything below your waist.
Oh my God!
You broke your spine. You're lucky to be here, but C3 through T1, and so basically 4 of the 6 vertebrae in my neck were completely fractured, like just in pieces. And like anybody that's had any like vertebrae out of place or like spinal pain is. It's ferocious.
Yeah.
So, like mine weren't just like out of line, but they were just in pieces, So he was like, you had a spinal fusion. You've been in an induced coma for the last 4 days on a ventilator.
Damn.
And, like every day you're on a ventilator, the likelihood of you living through that,
sure.
It's questionable. So, he's just like, we're glad you're here with us. You're going to experience some pain. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, you're probably, never walk again.
Damn.
And so that's what I woke up to. But, the first week that I was there, it was just denial. It was like, I was so heavily medicated on so many drugs that every time I woke up, it was just like where am I at?
Yeah.
It was like all over again, like Groundhog's Day. And then, they try to feed you, do whatever, a couple hours later, I'm asleep. So like that first week was just denial. I don't believe where I'm at. It's a dream. And then, from there, 10 days later, they're like, we got to send you to Methodist. During Methodist, that was a depressing time. That's all I can say because, that time, COVID, so you could only have one visitor
at a time.
Yep, sure.
At a time, and I think at Methodist, their rules at that time was like basically one on the books, not like one at a time. You got one visitor.
So mom, dad, because
couldn't
COVID,
bring the kids up.
Yeah, you're trying to protect
yourself
from them or them from you from getting the COVID-19.
Yep. And mask at all times. Like I got this big, huge brace that goes all the way down to my hips.
But you're not moving.
Can't move. No, I couldn't even sit up in bed.
Wow.
So like even at Methodist when I got there. Anytime they try to take me to physical therapy, it was a 45-minute process because, they try to lift me up. They got the gait belt and all that other stuff. They put me in the chair and my blood pressure would drop 80/60 as soon as I sat up. And then, you know, I like feel hot, sweaty, but I'm cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, feeling like I'm going to throw up or pass out. Right. And then I'd have to, you know, it'd take 30 minutes just to kind of get my bearings.
So you were like technically like with the prognosis of you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Paraplegic. Yeah.
Damn.
I couldn't walk. I mean, I couldn't even move my toes. Like, and you know, sitting up was like, I was thinking, am I ever going to be able to sit up again? Not even.
How was your faith in that process?
You start to like it. You know what I mean? Like I said, my marriage, you know, like that was at its worst time. You know, like that just was bad. And hadn't seen my kids, you know, so last time I see my kids, you know, they don't know if I'm gonna live or die.
Right.
And then, you know, now I
4 days
see them
later. Yeah, and now you can't see them because of COVID.
Yep.
Dang,
so I mean,
bro.
during that time, it's just like you know, not being, mind you, that was like 4 or 5 years into bodybuilding competitions. So like, you know, the previous 2 bodybuilding competitions, I always competed at the Arnold Classic, which is like Arnold Classic and Olympia are the 2 biggest.
Yeah, for sure.
So like Arnold Classic was kind of, I wanted to get my pro card there. You know,
right.
Like forget all these local small shows. I want to get it there. And it was my 4th or 5th Arnold Classic, and I was dialed in. I was a month out from.
You was going. If you hadn't went through this type stuff, never know what could have turned out there.
Well, because you were in that shape, I'm sure that probably
it had a lot to do with it.
Saved your life.
It had a lot to do with it. But I was in incredible shape.
Oh, we're kind of running out of time a little bit, but let's get to how long did it take you before you were back being in the gym? How long did the rehab take? How'd you do it?
So rehab I did 3 months, and this is outpatient. You know, I was in the hospital for 10 weeks. They wanted me to go to Medina.
Yeah.
COVID was happening, so I was like, you know, I'm done with this. Like, you know, so I'm leaving. You know, like I just get me out. I don't need, you know, the doctor. I had to sign all these papers because it's against doctor's orders.
Sure. Right.
They sent me home. It was funny because I wasn't able to sit up at all. And then I was like, you know, I got to think it's something like with my legs, like no circulation or something's going on.
So you completely had no feeling?
Yeah, like, you know, I think it took 4 weeks for my like left toe to wiggle a little bit.
Wow.
And, you know, I was like, it's got to be something. They tried the parallel bars. They tried the bed that just lifts you up. Sure. And it was just always same thing. And I wasn't able to stand on, you know, hold the parallel bars without like trying to pass out. So I saw this like walker they had that, you know, you put your forearms on. And, you know, I was like, the only thing we haven't tried is that walker. This is like right before I got to the hospital. And I was like, I just want to try that walker. You know, they were like, the tilt bed doesn't work. You know, you can't stand up.
So how can you walk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, they were like, whatever, you know. So they let me try it and put me up in it. I started feeling a little dizzy, started trying to sway my hips. And it's a week before they were going to kick me out anyway. And I walked down the hallway.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, like that gave.
How long it take you in time to get down and back?
I mean, it took a while.
You weren't wrong.
Yeah, we ain't got to talk about that. It took a while. You know, it wasn't a great walk, you know, but
you walked.
I wasn't passed out.
And you weren't supposed to.
Yeah. So the rest of that week, you know, like they were like, okay, let's try some other things.
Wow.
You know? So like that was when everybody, you know, the whole nursing staff was like, all right, they all were motivated by that point.
Sure.
And the lead nurse, you know, she told me, she was like, you know, your insurance will cover one medical utility, and you know, we were getting the wheelchair ready, but I'm just going to order a walker, you know, because you're going to walk. So she believed, you know, like from that point. And then, you know, like it was not great walking, holding on to everything. Yeah. But once I got out the hospital, did 3 months of outpatient therapy, same thing, you know, like walker everywhere, and it wasn't great walking. And then I was showing them my therapist, some things that I was doing at home because I owned a gym. I had sold the gym by that time, but I had like all equipment. So like, you know, I'm walking up the stairs with dumbbells and, you know, and he's like, you know, A, we can't have you do any of that. Yeah. B, you know, like you got to pass like a little test, like, you know, do walking lunges without swaying. You know, if you don't pass that test, next time you come in, you know, it's not a next thing.
I know.
So like, he was like, you know, Chet, like, you know, you're doing, you know, I don't want to see what you're doing on your own is, you know, it's just, we can't have you do that.
Sure, right, yeah.
And we trust, you know, so it's up to you. Insurance will cover it, But, like I trust, your body, like, so this is just me as a, individual,
right.
And so
everything else is just will.
Yep. So 3 months from there, stopped. And I'd say after that, I was walking at home, buddy of mine stopped by and he was like, just try to take a few steps to me without, the walker. And so took a few steps to him and made it without the walker. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to make it down the stairs because I'm trying to, and I got the, the rails and
Sure.
And so the walker's up the stairs. I get down the stairs.
Yeah.
I walk back up the stairs and I'm like, man, I'm not touching that walker again.
There you go.
And ever since that day,
never touched it. Put it in storage. It's been
so
there.
One thing you said was life will hit everyone hard, but resilience is something everyone needs. How do you help someone who feels like they can't fight anymore?
At the end of the day, you got a few choices in life. Like, you could choose not to do anything about your situation and it'll never get better.
Yeah.
But if you don't, try to do something and try to fight, because that's what everybody's going through something. Like, one of my good friends, he's a national public speaker. He's out in New York now. And, he's been speaking for a long time. I'm just getting into the speaking realm. But, I listened to his story, and this is, ever since college, that was his passion. Like, he knew he was going to start that business and has grown it, did everything. And for me, I'm just like, I know I got this testimony. I know I work for a professional team, and, I've got things that people are interested in, like hearing his story. And it's just a story about, like, how he perceived a divorce that his parents went through when he was in high school as a senior. And he perceived some of the conversations he had with his mom and held it against his dad the entire time. It wasn't like his dad didn't mistreat.
I know what you mean.
The
It's
perception he took from the one conversation when his mom was like, me and your dad are getting divorced.
Right.
And held it against his dad for over 20 years.
Oh,
right.
wow.
So like just the relationship they had, the communication they had, just distant. And so, like, he felt like, when he finally had that conversation and realized, like, he just took it wrong.
Right.
And, he understands because he's a man now and had his own experiences that, the way he took it was just, but those 20 years are gone.
Sure.
And now he's got his own, child. And he's thinking, like, man, I don't know what I'd do if my child did that to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what he speaks about, right? And obviously what I went through is a lot more tragic from a physical standpoint, right? But for him and his world, it's just as deep.
It equates.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody in life has got something that might not be as big as somebody else's, but to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I respect
it's
it.
what they got to deal with.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, like, at the end of the day, like, nothing's going to change if you don't put that, like, I was told by, very smart the neurosurgeon that treated me, he's one of the top neurosurgeons in the country. He, COVID was happening. So staff is low because COVID, they send people home.
Right.
He wasn't an emergent doctor. He's not a 24/7, overnight. He's hardly at UNMC because he's traveling so much.
Right.
God put him there because, he was probably one of the few surgeons that could have did the job he did, right?
Wow.
Saved my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was there for a reason. And, like, that's the way the world works. Is like, me during that time, like, I had those depressing moments where, like, man, I don't want to be here. But, like, if you don't make a decision to change, and our body is just so powerful, our minds are so powerful, like, like God's in us, you know what I mean? So, like, whatever you feel like you can do, you got to put the work and time into it, but you can do it. So you can change your situation, or you could sit in that just depressed, and it's just not the way to be. So a lot of individuals are the same. I know I've had a lot of people reach out, a lot of physicians and family members, like, reach out to so-and-so because they're going through, and, like, at the end of the day, it takes that individual. I can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of the first conversation that I have with people. Like, at the end of the day, like if you don't believe and you're not going to put the effort into change, I can't even help.
Nothing.
There's no doubt about that.
Like, I'm not, it's not, it's not going to behold me to, like, even, like, so, like, first you got to believe and you got to be willing to commit yourself. And if you got all that, then I'll be there with you.
How can people get a hold of you with speaking and stuff?
So as far
Chet
as
Speaks.
ChetSpeaks.com is my website where you can check me out, but Chet@CoachChet.com is my email. Feel free to shoot me an email. That's the easiest probably way to get in touch with me. But I love speaking my story. I mean, it's not just about the financial commitment is really. I've always liked helping others and servicing others. That's kind of what I do at Bellevue through education, and that's what I did with the gym is changing people's lives. So I mean, I've definitely got a story to tell.
Yeah,
had some experiences that like Bud goes 3 times undisputed. I'm the only coach that could ever say that ever.
Yeah. I'm gonna be the guy that know the guy that know the guy.
Yeah. Well, look, you get Bud ready because obviously we're all behind him. We want to see him kick Saul's ass, so we need you to make sure that happens.
It's
no doubt. Chet, we appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, welcome back to Let It Fly show. Good interview with Chet.
I know, man. You know what I appreciate about him is the fact that he's inspirational. He's one of those guys where if you talk to him, it's like you don't got no choice but to be at your best because he gonna make you.
Yeah. Right. I know there are people like that you have conversations with. The joke is always I'd run through a wall to listen to him talk. Yeah. And he's one of those kind of guys. Most outside of Chet Holmgren, who is the most famous Chet you know?
Chet Holmgren.
That's the only one.
Yes.
And this Chet, and the Chet we just interviewed.
100%.
Okay, there's another Chet.
Please tell me.
Okay, so there was a movie called Weird Science.
I know about Weird Science.
Came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
The brother's name was Chet.
Yeah.
The older brother they turned him into a turd.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was Chet.
Yeah,
that's the only other Chet I know.
I watched Weird Science. Yeah, for sure.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a funny movie.
Yeah.
Why don't you let him drive?
Yeah, they increased your breast size.
They did a lot of stuff. Yeah, they had a good time with that. That was the original AI.
Right.
That was the original AI with that.
Right.
Special thanks to Chet Fortune. We appreciate him. Also, Caleb being on the wheels of steel and making sure everything gets done.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Mike Allen, who is the general manager of this joint. We appreciate him as well. And the video coordinator, Dion, who is kind of in charge. So it's Chardale, Dion. I mean, how many names? And that's a lot of names.
Just normal dude.
That's a lot of names. It's his full name. So he's Chardale with a capital D, Char and a capital D, and then Dion
Barnes.
And then Barnes.
And most people
and originally when he first contacted me, he told me his name was Chardale, and so I had him in my phone there. And then now he tells me his name is Dale. That's very confusing.
Because what's happening is more people are recognizing him as Dion. So it's like, man,
that's his fault. He's telling people he's Dion.
It's like if I get a business card, I can't really change my number because if I do, all my contacts aren't going to know.
But he was telling me his name was Chardale, and now he's Dion.
Take it up with the judge,
I get confusion, man. I get confused. Presenting sponsor Bud Light, we appreciate them. Again, no matter where you are in Omaha, rolling around, getting something to drink. Don't drink and drive, but enjoy. And, of course, easy to drink and easy to enjoy. That is Bud Light.
Yeah.
Remember to subscribe. Oh, always. Hey, I don't even understand people who don't wear their seatbelt.
I think
who doesn't? How do you get in a car and not automatically
put it in?
There
was a period of time where it wasn't cool to wear a seatbelt, and if you wore it, people hit you with this.
Who are you? What are you doing? And why do you?
I'm wearing my seatbelt.
You know how many fatalities I have covered over the years of being in the news? You know how many fatalities? And the majority of those people didn't have seatbelts on.
Damn.
Why wouldn't you just put it on?
I know, bro.
It's not like it's inconvenient.
Hey,
I mean, I
ain't too cool for school.
Don't drink. If you're gonna drink like a fish, don't drive. Swim. Remember that. Remember that. Also,
crazy,
subscribe to us on YouTube or Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to the podcast. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate that. Next week, very special guest, if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I think we can. So we got a couple of different people for next week. For sure, it'll be a central contingent. Right. I know that. But maybe somebody else as well.
We got some names.
Yeah. Take us away, Josh.
Hey, look. I'm going to enjoy this food.
Yeah.
But it's Josh Jones here with my boy Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.